What is up, everybody? I'm doing something different here. I know you're used to the usual gaming content, the music content, but today I decided to do a little different. I know you saw the title, I know you see the thumbnail, and today's video is why the crowd will turn on Cody Rhodes. Now hear me out. Cody Rhodes is an amazing wrestler. He's an amazing character, an amazing person, and for the most part, the whole crowd can get behind him all the way 100%. But I can't shake this feeling that eventually they will turn on him. And these are all the reasons why I think so. But in order to tell you the reasons, I must tell you the build up to his story in general, and how things will look after his title reign. Now everything he done in the past, from like where he started all the way to AEW, I'm really not even going to go over that in general. You can pretty much look it up if you want to, but I'm here to talk about his current WWE run and how I think it'll look later on in 2024. Cody Rhodes returned to WWE at WrestleMania 38. I can't remember which night exactly, but I know that it was 38, and at this point in time, Seth Rollins had this whole story where he didn't have a match at Mania. You remember him and Kevin fighting and clawing to get to WrestleMania, but they failed at every turn. It ended with Kevin Owens facing Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins being left without an opponent. So who is his opponent? Well, we all had speculations because it was rumored around the time that Cody Rhodes wasn't re-signing with AEW and he was going to head back to WWE. And for the most part, that's big news. That was the actual first big transition from AEW over to WWE, because usually you get WWE guys getting released or letting their contract expire and go to AEW because, well, it feels like the promised land to get back on your feet and all that. But this time, it was just different. He came back as a surprise entrance in WrestleMania 38 to Seth's, I wouldn't know if I would say surprise or excitement, but either way, they blew the roof off of WrestleMania 38. If anything, they probably had the best match of both nights, because WrestleMania 38 was not that good last time I remember. It was alright, it was solid, but it wasn't really much to look at. I wouldn't go back and look at anything from WrestleMania 38 besides this match. But it was all good, all sweet OJ and daisies and all. But then after that, it seemed like he just could not escape that Seth Rollins vortex. He could not let that loss go. And he went on to face Seth like 2 more times and won every single time, even with a torn pec at Hell in a Cell. Now, if anything, that should have been a match that Cody Rhodes lost, if anything, because you're telling me that Seth Rollins, a grade A wrestler who's been a key player for WWE for years, pretty much a decade at that point, can't even defeat Cody Rhodes with a torn pec. That's just a little weird, but you know what? It's okay. Soon after that, Cody Rhodes had to take time off due to injury, with the torn pec and all. And then here comes the 2023 Royal Rumble. My, the 2023 Royal Rumble. It was very predictable. Okay, from the get-go, Cody Rhodes' return was already announced ahead of time, which one, they could have just saved it as a surprise, even though we kind of knew he was coming back anyway, but he was even more spoiled with the spoiler of him coming back. And then to top that all off, he didn't come back all the way till number 30, so it was pretty much a given that Cody Rhodes was winning this. And what kind of irritates me the most about this is that Gunther entered from like number 1, lasted all the way up to number 30, which was Cody Rhodes, whooped Cody's ass the whole time, and then Cody Rhodes just barely escapes, winning the whole match and not even having to do much. So there, it's booked. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns for WrestleMania 39. Now off the top at least, this was the most unpredictable WrestleMania main event probably ever, because you didn't know who was really going to win. Was it going to be Roman Reigns retaining and keeping the title all the way to next Mania? Or was it going to be Cody Rhodes defeating Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship? Now, I tried to keep my biased opinion away from all these facts, but here is my opinion on this WrestleMania main event. 1, I didn't want Cody to win. 2, I knew Cody wasn't winning. And here are my reasons. Well, the first reason being, Cody Rhodes is fresh off of AEW, and with all the talent that Roman Reigns has kind of squashed or buried or faced in any type of capacity, why should it be Cody Rhodes? Well, I don't know. He's been booked as this all-conquering hero, has came back to WWE, hasn't lost a match at all, and then immediately gets the title match at WrestleMania. Like, how can you even, how do I say this, get behind a babyface who's going to win everything and tell us he's our hero, but really he's just here winning everything? Even though we get that his goal is to win the WWE title because he never had, and his dad never had, and his brother never had, but at the same time, it just, I don't know, it feels like an easy cop-out, and that's just one thing that I wasn't 100% okay with. Now, the match itself was pretty good, pretty solid, but it did have a screwy finish where everyone wasn't happy. You know, I wasn't happy with the finish, but you know what? I predicted it. Roman Reigns won, and I laughed my ass off, not gonna lie. I laughed a lot because I knew Cody wasn't winning, and I didn't want him to win. Now, you may say I'm biased or I'm just a Cody hater. I'm not. I like Cody Rhodes. I'm just not a fan of Cody Rhodes. See, you can like a wrestler, but just not be a fan of them. Now, the Raw after WrestleMania 39 was pretty weird. I don't remember anything about that episode in particular, but the one thing I do remember is Cody Rhodes coming out to challenge Roman Reigns once again because, well, he's been screwed out of his title win by Solo Sikoa and the whole bloodline. So he was looking for redemption. Now, for whatever reason, Roman Reigns set up a tag match with him and Solo versus Cody and an opponent of his choosing. And that opponent was, for some odd reason, Brock Lesnar. Now, I don't think I've ever seen Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes in the same ring together. If you have, please let me know in the comments, but I know I haven't, or at least I don't remember. But one thing I like to note about this is that Brock Lesnar has all the reasons to come after Roman Reigns, but has no reason at all to ally himself with Cody Rhodes. So when the bell had rung, Brock Lesnar turned on Cody Rhodes, gave him a few Germans and an F5, and this didn't surprise me in the least bit. It was so predictable. I saw it coming as soon as Brock Lesnar's music hit, because why would Brock Lesnar, of all people, allow himself to tag with Cody Rhodes? And one, Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns isn't about to have a random tag match on Raw, or really any match on Raw. They're both too big to have any singles matches on TV. Their matches are basically reserved for pay-per-views or PLEs, if you would. Now, I'm going to recap that whole feud in a nutshell. At the Backlash pay-per-view, Cody Rhodes faced Brock Lesnar one-on-one and won via roll-up while he was in a Kimura. So already that's just given like, okay, the life is kind of being sucked out of me right now. And then not too long after that, on an episode of Raw, Brock Lesnar decides to break Cody Rhodes' arm in the same way that he did to Undertaker in like 2004 or 2005. So now, not only are they giving us predictable stuff, but they're also repeating stuff. And when you repeat a formula, it doesn't work as well as the first time it did. Night of Champions 2023, Brock Lesnar defeats Cody Rhodes while Cody Rhodes has a broken arm. So, okay, I'm noticing a pattern here. It takes a torn pec, and Seth Rollins still can't beat Cody Rhodes, and it takes a broken arm for Brock Lesnar to beat Cody Rhodes. Not really legit, because this is Brock Lesnar we're talking about. He defeated The Undertaker, defeated his streak. He's beaten Roman Reigns before. He's beaten pretty much everybody there is to beat. And once again, this is Brock Lesnar we're talking about, one of the toughest SOBs on, not even in the WWE, but the entire planet. But it takes a broken arm for Brock Lesnar to beat Cody Rhodes. Now at the next pay-per-view, or PLE, I'm not calling it PLE, screw that, pay-per-view, was SummerSlam 2023, I believe. Yes, and Cody Rhodes defeats Brock Lesnar in a pretty underwhelming match. Now, people give this match praise. I don't exactly know what they're giving it praise for, because all Brock did was pretty much dominate Cody and throw him out the ring and try to count him out. And Cody just kept coming in a fight, and then Brock Lesnar kept dominating him and throwing him back outside the ring. But I'm not going to dig too deep in this match. But Cody Rhodes ended up coming up with the win, and Brock Lesnar showed his respect and rode off into the sunset. And that's the last we've ever saw of Brock Lesnar. And over the next several months, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn were feuding with the Judgment Day for like what felt like forever. Raw would start off with the Judgment Day. Raw would end with the Judgment Day. It is just the same formula. Either Cody, Seth, Jey, KO, or Sammy would beat one of the members of Judgment Day, and it would just be continuing to happen. Then at a pay-per-view, I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes beat the Judgment Day to win the undisputed tag titles. Now, this victory made little to no sense, because one, why is Jey Uso winning a tag title when he's supposed to be main event Uso, and he's not even tagging with his brother, so it just felt out of place. And then two, why is Cody Rhodes even competing for tag titles when he should be a main eventer? And it's just like, Michael Cole kind of pointed that on an episode after Raw, saying did he basically forget about that title? And for a second there, I'm like, yeah, he probably did. But then again, this is WWE. They need to give Cody some time to do this and that, and the third. It's whatever. Now, on an episode of SmackDown, October 13th, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso were facing, I can't remember who, but that didn't matter. What mattered was the angle after. After Cody and Jey won their match, they're walking to the ramp, and we hear the Tribal Chiefs music, and Jimmy and Solo come down and stare down Cody and Jey. Then Roman comes down to lock eyes with Cody Rhodes, and if you somehow forgotten that Cody versus Roman was still going on, then you were heavily reminded right there. And it's basically saying, yep, this is going to go on all the way to next WrestleMania. And it's okay, because long-term booking is important, but when something is just feeling so dragged out and is given so much filler in between, like imagine you watching your favorite anime, and let's give Naruto an example. Naruto, the war arc starts, so it's time to like get it on and almost ready for the finale, but you got all these episodes of filler in between, like all these white Zetsu stuff with Sakura, Kankuro, all the irrelevant characters, just to get to the main payoff, and it just feels like, it doesn't even feel worth it at that point. But anyway, this rivalry finally concluded at Survivor Series of November 2023, when Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, and Randy Orton, who returned at the time, surprisingly, not surprisingly, came back and defeated the Judgment Day, and for some reason pinned Damian Priest when JD was literally murdered from a giant RKO, and that feud was finally put to rest. But one thing to note about this whole pay-per-view was that it was underwhelming. It was boring. I'm not gonna lie. The women's War Games match was way better than the men's War Game match. The only thing that saved this entire pay-per-view was the return of CM Punk, which was very unpredictable. Nobody expected it. Even when the pay-per-view was held in CM Punk's hometown of Chicago, still, we didn't think CM Punk was coming back to WWE. We thought he was done with wrestling altogether, and we never thought we'd see CM Punk in a WWE ring ever again. And to this day, it still feels kind of unreal. Anyways, it's coming around the Royal Rumble season, and Cody Rhodes still needs something to do. So what do? We throw him in a worthless feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, who's been doing nothing but eating pins at this point. This man would be face 1 minute, heel the next, and still eating pins no matter what type of work he's been putting in. And this rivalry, I don't remember anything about it besides Shinsuke Nakamura misting Cody Rhodes, and I believe Cody Rhodes still won with a face full of mist. So yeah, but aside from that, Royal Rumble 2024, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes are the final two. And once CM Punk said the words, and I quote, "I didn't wait 10 years to lose to Dusty Sun." And after he said that, everybody knew who was winning. CM Punk's attempts to eliminate Cody Rhodes, but nope, Cody Rhodes ends up eliminating CM Punk, and that sucked the whole life out of me and my best friend who said the same thing. So we've had two Royal Rumbles that were pretty mid, and both of them Cody Rhodes has won. So now, if you somehow still were in the dark about the direction of WWE going forward, you are now. Cody Rhodes is definitely facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the second time, which in turn I have no problem with, but I honestly don't think he should have been given the Royal Rumble win. I mean, maybe it worked out altogether because CM Punk got injured in this match. How he won, it would have been for nothing. He would have had to give it up to somebody. Maybe Cody Rhodes, maybe Drew McIntyre. But at this point, the question becomes, who does Cody Rhodes face, even though the question is kind of obvious. See, Seth has won the newly introduced WWE World Heavyweight Championship at this time, but it came at a time where it felt like it was just kind of thrown in there because it's basically the nobody can beat Roman Reigns title. So here's this. So already it feels second best to Reigns. If anything, the Intercontinental Championship is more important than the World Heavyweight Championship. And with Roman's burial of that championship and his promos, it doesn't make it look any better. But Seth Rollins goes on to beg Cody Rhodes to pick him at WrestleMania because he doesn't think that Cody Rhodes should go after Roman Reigns because the title that Roman Reigns hold is the Hollywood title. And it's getting a little weird. It's kind of putting down one championship, but at the same time putting down the same championship you're trying to build up. And it just doesn't look good at all. But anyways, the WrestleMania press conference is on the way. Oh, wait, no. Not the WrestleMania press conference. I forgot what happened on the episode of SmackDown. The Rock has recently returned on Monday Night Raw not too long ago from this point. And The Rock makes the quote, "I'm hungry. I'm going to go out to eat. Should I sit at the bar or should I sit at the head of the table?" And immediately we knew what he was talking about. He was teasing a match with Roman Reigns. And so on an episode of SmackDown, Cody Rhodes faces Roman Reigns and he tells him how much he wants to take that title from him. But he knows somebody who wants to do it even more. And it just doesn't make sense because after he says that, we hear The Rock's music. And then The Rock comes down, stares at Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes shakes The Rock's hand, hugs him, and walks out with the look of defeat on his face. And then The Rock turns around and looks at Roman, and the crowd erupts. Now, the crowd is basically erupting because they're boosting off how do I call this, impulsive excitement. They're living in the moment and not really realizing what's really going on. The Rock is replacing Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes literally won 2 Rumbles back to back, has been telling this story for over a year, for actually 2 years since he came back. And now The Rock gets to finish what Cody Rhodes started. So that didn't really resonate with fans after the fact. As a matter of fact, that video got a lot of dislikes. I think about as much as the time Charlotte put herself in that match between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. And that was a lot of backlash. And so the WrestleMania press conference came around, and The Rock is just explaining the family tree of the whole Anoa'i and Fatus. And he also calls Cody Rhodes' fan Cody Crybabies, which is genius, by the way. The Rock is just a freaking goat on the whole mic altogether. And then Cody Rhodes come out and basically cuts a promo on Rock and Roman, saying that their grandfathers would be ashamed. And this is when Rock kind of just turns heel, and he tells him not to talk about his family anymore, ends up slapping Cody Rhodes. And that was that. Did I mention that Seth Rollins was also there? Yeah, the thing about this whole entire feud that you're finna notice is that Seth Rollins is kind of overlooked in this whole feud. He's just the guy filling in the hole. And the following SmackDown, Triple H has announced that instead of The Rock versus Roman Reigns, we'll be getting Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Cool, fine. The Rock and Roman and Cody and Seth have a promo battle. And what Cody Rhodes says, even though there's been so much disrespectful talk, Cody Rhodes is like, let's all take a moment to realize the great wrestlers that are in this ring, blah, 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 blah. And it's just, why is Cody even talking at this point? He's still trying to play the nice guy, even though The Rock literally smacked him. and a Roman has just been bashing his whole family. But this whole segment ended with Cody smacking The Rock. And how does Cody follow up with that on the next episode of Raw? By crying. I can't remember who he was uh, doing a segment with, but he started cutting a passionate promo and crying at the same time. And then that SmackDown, The Rock is basically like, you smack me one week, then the next week you get on TV and start crying. And for good reason too, because just think about it. If someone smacked you, then the next week you smack them, the next week, are you going to sit there, talk about it, and then start crying? Like, who does that? Like, what are we watching right now? Like, Cody Rhodes is good on all accounts, but there's times for men to cry and there's times for men not to cry, and that was one of the times that he should not cry. And if we're going to get the Cody Rhodes that's just going to keep on crying while cutting passionate promos, trust me when I say this crowd is going to get bored of it. Anyways, The Rock does his rock concert and he's really having fun with this. You can tell he was having fun with this, and it was fun for me in general. I laughed at almost every single line The Rock said, because once again, The Rock is The Rock. He's the GOAT on the mic. He's the guy that can push you to your limits. He's the guy that can say anything that he wants to and hardly get in trouble for it. And then he cuts a serious promo saying that he's going to whip him with his own belt, put his blood on that belt, and hand it to his mom. And then all the talk that he's saying about Cody Rhodes' mom, what does Cody Rhodes do? He goes to Raw next week and says, you don't disrespect my mom. And then you know what he says about The Rock's mom? He says, I think your mom is a nice lady. Like, really? Really? And then anyway, they do yet another Cody Rhodes injury angle where The Rock busts open Cody Rhodes, and he ends up coming back like the next week, and like Seth Rollins planned to have a plan B just in case the bloodline jumps him, and they still end up getting beat up or beat down, however WWE puts it. Cody Rhodes came back, band-aid over his eye, and still gets beat down. So now not only does Cody Rhodes look like an idiot, but Seth Rollins look like an even bigger idiot.